Today's share dedicated to Nishmas, Chanech and Shalom Baruch. It's supposed to be for all the people who need it for Shlema. And we're starting on Testament Aleph, halfway down the page. We're by the Tanya Ma'aseh B'Talmei HaMelech. The Gemara is discussing over here how we could translate the Torah into different languages, and we basically said that translating the Torah was only able to be in Yavanis, in Greek. And the reason why the Chacham were matter was because of the story with Talmei HaMelech. The Tanya, Ma'aseh B'Talmei HaMelech. Shekines Shivim Mishnayim Zekanim. Talmei HaMelech he was a non-Jewish king. He took 72 Zekanim, B'chnisa Mishivim Mishnayim Batim, and he put each one in a separate house. V'legila Lehem Al Makinson, and he didn't tell each one why, he's calling them in. He sent each one into a different house. And he said to each one, translate the whole Torah of Moshe, your master. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu put in their minds, each one separately, that they should change certain things that were written, change the translation how the Torah was written. And through Ruach HaKodesh, they all came to the same realizations. And they made basically 10 changes, I think we counted. Elikim bar Bereshis. Instead of saying Bereshis bar Elikim, which is the beginning of Parshas Bereshis, it says Bereshis in the beginning, bar Elikim. Hashem hat bashafim. Right? So instead they wrote Elikim bar Bereshis. Why? Because it could come that somebody would say that Bereshis is the person who created Hashem, instead of saying that Hashem created in the beginning. So they changed. That was the first change they made. Also, Hashem says Nasa Adam Kitzal Meinu, let us make man together, and they changed that to Esa Adam, I will make. Same reason, so that people shouldn't say that maybe Hashem had a partnership with some other unknown person. They changed. Instead of saying that male and female were created, which means that he created them, it could also mean that they created. So he said they all changed it to Bira'ai. Instead of what the pasuk says by Daraflaga, that Hashem says, let's go down and play with their languages and switch it up a little bit. So instead of where the Torah says it in the form of let's do this together, they change it to I will go down for the same reason. That's from this past week's parsha, from this week's parsha actually, yeah. Right, we're in Vayera. Yeah, so this week's parsha that Sarah laughed when she got the news that she was going to have a baby. She laughed Bekirba. She laughed inside of her. So they changed to that she laughed amongst her relatives, Bikroiveha, instead of Bekirba. Why? Because it says that Avram laughed also, and there's a lot of reasons given why there was a difference, how Avram laughed and how Sarah laughed. So because of this, in order to not deal with it, they just said that she laughed amongst her friends. This is talking about Shimon and Levi, where they killed the people who were involved in kidnapping Dinah. So instead of writing that they killed people, they wrote that they killed an ox and a avos, which is another type of bull. I don't know the exact translation. And Moshe took his wife and his children and he put them on a people mover, a vehicle, where it says that he put them on a chamar, because it might look like not chashuv that he was on a chamar, not on a horse with a chariot. So they just said on Noisa b'nei Adam, on a people mover. The Torah says that Bnei Yisrael lived in Mitzrayim for 400 years, which we know is not how many years. It was really 210 years at the end of Mitzrayim. So they added in actually Yoshua Mitzrayim v'shar Artzos, the cheshbon of 400 in Mitzrayim and other lands. So like this, it comes to the complete 400 years. It shouldn't say that the Torah wrote something that wasn't accurate. Vayishlach has Zatute Bnei Yisrael. What the pasuk says, Vayishlach has Nare Bnei Yisrael. So they said Zatute, because Nare actually sounds like, to somebody who wouldn't understand better, and I think it was the Rambam that Rabbi Savansky brought down, that the Nare is not like a Mevazadek Lashon. It's our prime are the people, the Bakrim, who are about to get married. They're the prime age. They're the Chashuv people. It's not that they're... So anyhow, they switched the word Zatute, which is more like a delegation, like Chashuv people. They send Chashuv people. They send Chashuv people. They'll Zatute B'nei Yisrael. Atzila B'nei Yisrael also use the same Lashon of Zatute. Like Chema Dechot Mehem Nasasi, where it says Chamar, like Chamar Echot Mehem Nasasi. So in order for them to not be able to say that, maybe he just didn't steal Chamar, but he could have stole something else. So it said Chemed, which is a precious object. So added in the word lahoyer to show that they're not allowed to din avodah zarah. When the Torah is talking about how our neves and ahir or rabbit is not kosher, so they changed the word arneves to tziras raglayim, to the short-legged animal. Why? Talmai's wife's name was Arneves. So they shouldn't say that this Talmud Melech was, I guess, somebody that was scared of in that time, and this was mamash like Sakon Stafashis. If he felt that something was written in the Torah to mess with him, and his wife's name was Arneva, so they just changed that to the short-legged. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel Oimer, Av Besvarim Lahitir Sheichtu El Yavanis. Rav Shimon says even the Nach Lahitir Sheichtu El Yavanis. The only language that you can translate other than Lashon Kodesh is Yavanis, is Greek. Amar Rabbi Bo, Amar Rabbi Yochanan Halach Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. The beauty of Yefes should be for Hashem. And dwell in the tents of shame. The words of Yefes should be in the tents of shame, which is Torah. Shem is Torah. Where Torah is learned, should be the beauty of the words of Yefes. So, because Gomer and Magog and Yavan were all descendants of Yefes. So maybe it also applies to Gomer and Magog. They also have languages that come from them. Rechiya Ba'aba says that this is the reason why it says Yaft Elikim Liyafes. It's a pasuk. It says Yaft Elikim Liyafes. That Yaf Yosei Shel Yafes Yihya Be'elishem. The beauty of Yafes, which is Yavan. Yavan comes from Greek, comes from Latin. Latin comes from Greek, which comes from Yafes through Yavan. So that should be the beautiful language of Latin. Of Greek should be in Elishem. Should still be good. Ein bein kohen mashuach b'shem hamishcha l'meruba begadim. There's no difference between a kohen that is anointed with the Shemen HaMeshcha, the Meruba Begadim. So what is a kohen? We're talking about a kohen gadol first of all, and a kohen gadol was anointed with Shemen HaMeshcha. Also wore more begadim. A regular kohen wore 4 begadim, and a kohen gadol wore 8 begadim. So what we're discussing is in the time of Yoshio, in the end of the first Beis HaMikdash, he hid the Shemen HaMishcha. So he hid a few things: the Shemen HaMishcha, he hid the mon that was by the Aron. Shlomo Melech made a special compartment, I guess even for this reason, so that certain things that are going to be hitting, that Bez Hashem we're going to get very soon with Mashiach Tzidkenu, we're going to get all the stuff back, the Shemen HaMishcha, and then we'll be able to have the real Kohen Gadol, we'll have the Mon, and there was another couple of things, that the Mata Aaron, I think, is another thing. There was one more thing, I don't remember what it is, but I'll look it up. So in the time of Yeshua, which was the end of the first Beis HaMikdash, and then continue on to the second Beis HaMikdash, they also didn't have the Shemen HaMishcha anymore. So a Kohen Gadol still became Kohen Gadol, and he put on the extra 4 garments. So he became so we call this a Meruba Begadim. So we call this Kohen Gadol, he's a Meruba Begadim. He's with the added garments. So the Mishnah is teaching us that we're by the middle of all the Ein Bains. So a Kohen, which is a Kohen Gadol, is Meshuach B'Shem Mishcha. There's no difference between that Kohen to a Meruba Begadim, which is a Kohen Gadol that we had the whole second Beis HaMikdash. The only difference is one thing: Par Haba Al HaMitzvos. So Par Haba Al HaMitzvos is when a Kohen Gadol, everybody relies on him for kapara. So a Kohen Gadol says something that's not kalacha. I'm still not sure if he has to say it on purpose or not. I think not. But anyhow, he says halacha. Everybody goes and does this halacha the way he paskin. So now it comes that the whole klal, because of him, did the wrong thing. So there's a special halacha in a Kohen Gadol. One of the mitzvahs is that the Kohen Gadol has to bring a par haba al kol mitzvahs. Ein bein Kohen Mish. Okay, so now because he's not Meshuach B'Shem HaMishcha, he doesn't have to bring the par haba al mitzvahs, because it's the pasuk says Im HaKohen HaMashiach, the anointed Kohen, which anointed Kohen Gadol. So because fact that he wasn't anointed with the Shemen HaMishcha, he doesn't bring the par haba al mitzvahs. I think he does bring a carbon. He's just not a par, right?
He brings like a regular robe that messed up, not like a Kohen Gadol.
Ein bein Kohen meshamash leKohen she'avar. There's no difference between a Kohen that is currently serving to a Kohen that is retired. Elapar yom kippurim v'asiyos ha'efa. Now we're not talking about a kohen that got old and is taking a pension. It was the way I understand it is either a psul or he was, for whatever reason, he wasn't feeling well. So then they go and they bring there's the vice kohen gadol. They bring him and he becomes the kohen gadol now. So now you have the guy who used to be the kohen gadol and the guy who's currently the kohen gadol. So there's no difference now. That one becomes the kohen gadol. So the only difference is that par yom kippurim and asirus ha'efa. Okay, that's our Mishnah. Gemara. Hal inyan par yom kippurim v'asirus ha'efa zev zev shaman. But for par yom kippurim, which that's part of the avodah of Yom Kippur that the kohen gadol brings the par. Asirus ha'efa zev zev shaman, and the asirus ha'efa which is brought every day, they're equal. So Zok Gemara, Maslisen the loik Rabbi Meir. Our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Meir. The Rabbi Meir Hatanya. So we have a brayso meruba begadim maybe par habal kol mitzvahs. So a kohen that's a meruba begadim. That's the situation that we're talking about. He's a kohen gadol who's not anointed with the Shem Mishcha. He brings a par habal kol mitzvahs. Divrei Rabbi Meir. So that's Rabbi Meir. Maybe. Right? So our Mishnah cannot be Rabbi Meir's Gemara because we have specifically where Rabbi Meir says not like that. My time is Rabbi Meir, the Tanya, Mashiach ainli ela mashuch b'shem mishcha. The word, the pasuk that talks about the parabol of mitzvah says Mashiach, Hakoyen HaMashiach. Right? So ainli ela mashuch b'shem mishcha. Meruba Gadim minayin. So why would Meruba Gadim bring the parabol of mitzvah? Tam loima HaMashiach. Because he is the anointed one. But my opinion like Rabbi Meir. So the Gemara asks now interesting question. Ema seifa, ein ben kohen mishamash lekohen she'avar al parim kivim asir seifa. The seifa, right? That could be. I think the Gemara is saying that maybe the seifa is Rabbi Meir and the ratio is not Rabbi Meir. Al parim kivim asir seifa. Halakol Devrayim Zev Zev Shavan. Asan Rabbi Meir, the Tanya. Right? So we're discussing now how this happens, the Kohen Sha'avar. Irabai Psol. So all of a sudden he has a Psol. They found some Psol in the Kohen Gadol. So Kohen Gadol has a lot of different things that we're not really going to have time to go through probably. But a Kohen Gadol with a Psol can't do the avodah. So they have whoever's listening, the avodah Yom Kippur, it's a big part of the avodah is having the backup Kohen Gadol, ready to go, and he has to learn the halachas and be proficient and everything. Uminu Kohen achat achdav. So there was a psul happened. So right away they go and they set up the next in line. Rishon chayzel avodah. So the first one goes back to doing his avodah. Sheni komas is gehula gedoyla olav. So the second one, he has all the mitzvahs of the Kohen Gadol, with all the halachas of Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol. I wonder how that works with the Kohen Gadol. So the one that's tachtav, so does he have to take a different wife? He can't because he has to have a basula, like a basula. He can't marry. There's a few differences in marriage, like Lamashal. He can neither one could have grusha. Shmili, you should know this stuff, no? You know the difference between a Kohen and a Kohen Gadol? So the
I'm not getting ready, just in case.
No, so the Kohen Gadol has
Almana is a difference. So
Almana, right.
No Kohen can marry
tonight.
Right. Or Basula, I think also Kohen Gadol has to be Basula.
I'm saying it can be Almana or a
The name is
Grusha.
Kohen. How can you not be?
That means it has to be a Psula automatically.
Right. I'm saying a Grusha, even a
regular
Kohen
Kohen cannot marry a Grusha.
can marry Grusha, can marry an Almana. Right, the one difference is Almana,
A
basically.
regular Kohen goes a very hard shidduch time, yeah. A regular Kohen also has it. At least an almana is
Right,
possible.
Kohen. Right, you're saying because they could marry Almana, that's the rhythm. Rabbi Yosef and Rishon Chayz Lavasai, Sheni Eine Roi, Loi the Kohen Gadav, Loi the Kohen Hadid. So he's kind of in a bad situation over here, the Sheni, because he can't go back to being a regular Kohen because Man Makodesh Ve'em Meridin, and he can't go back to being a Kohen Gadol. I think 9, 10. I think we'll go
Should
for
go
another few minutes.
to the Mishnah.
Yeah, Loi the Kohen Gadol, but Loi the Kohen Hadid. So he can't be a Kohen Hadid because Man Makodesh Ve'em Meridin, and he can't be a Kohen Gadol. From Rabbi Yosef, Ma'aser Rabbi Yosef ben Ulam Mitzipayri, She'ira Boi Psul B'Kohen Gadol Minu Tachtav. So there was a Ma'aser with Rabbi Yosef ben Ulam from Tzipayri that the Kohen Gadol got a Psul, Uminu Tachtav, and they put instead of him another Kohen to be a Kohen Gadol. But Ma'aser Nechacham Amr Rishon Chayz Lavidasai Shein Ein Roi Loi the Kohen Gadol Loi the Kohen Hadid. Right, so they said that now he can't be a Kohen Gadol and can't be a Kohen Hadid. Kohen Gadol Mishum Eva. Kohen Gadol, why can't he be? Because of Eva. So because it would be like Eva's hatred, Eva's that there would be the opposite
Jealousy?
of Shalom. Yeah, jealousy. That it would be like problematic. That they have this Kohen Gadol, no, another Kohen Gadol. Kohen Hadid Mishum Demal Makodesh Ve'em. Right, and he can't go back to being Kohen Hadid because he was already Kohen Gadol. He can't go back in Man Kodesh Lemeridin. You only go up in Kedusha, you don't go down. Reisha Rabbanan v'Sefer Rabbi Meir. So the Gemara is saying now that the Reisha is Rabbanan and the end of the Mishnah is Rabbi Meir. Am Rab Chizda, Ein. Reisha Rabbanan v'Sefer Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yosef Amar, Rabbi he. Right, Rabbi is the one who wrote the Mishnah. V'Nasav Lei Alibet Tanoim. And he, when he was writing the Mishnah, he went according like the Tanoim.
Shkoyach.